What's up, everybody? Tony here from Forward Compatible, and I'm here to do a special episode about my 2013 holiday picks.
Woo! 2013! Spring break!
I actually, those of you familiar with the show know that I've, acquired every piece of video game hardware that's currently available on the market. So I think I have a decent understanding of all of the products and am able to give you guys a proper suggestion on whether or not it needs to be purchased. I'm going to go through each individual piece real quickly, and I'm going to rate it on a set of three different scales. Either a buy, which would be a yes, go ahead and grab it. A wait, which means there's nothing wrong with the actual hardware itself, but for a few specific reasons you are able to hold off. It's not in any need for an immediate purchase. And a don't buy, which means there's just no reason to pick this piece of hardware up. It really doesn't offer anything beyond perhaps a game or two, which are easily skippable. So I figured we'd start with Nintendo. And when I start with them, I guess I'll start with the Wii U. With the Wii U, it's an interesting piece of hardware. A lot of different aspects that a lot of people do like and a lot of people don't like. I'm not a huge fan of the tablet, and the lack of online features is kind of concerning. There's not a ton of software out for it yet, but that may very well change in the future, and the third-party support has been abysmal. So for me, the Wii U gets a do not buy. Do not at all. That'll bring us to the 3DS. The 3DS is kind of the yin to the Wii U's yang. It really is a completely different story. There's tons of great software out for it, whether you be on an actual physical media or if you want to go through the eShop. The online connectivity is not really there, but it's easily overlooked because majority of the games don't really need it. There's a ton of things to keep you entertained. Whether or not you want to play with the 3D function on is completely up to you. It really doesn't make too much of a difference. But overall, the 3DS is a very impressive piece of hardware. That, for me, gets a definite buy. Go ahead and grab one of those if you have not yet done so. Can move on to Microsoft. They still do offer the Xbox 360. That's still for sale in the stores. With the Xbox, I don't know why you wouldn't have acquired one and you'd be looking into it this late in the game, but in the event that is the case, you have a lot to love about the Xbox 360. It's probably one of the best controllers ever made. Xbox Live Gold is still the golden standard of online connectivity between systems. And you have literally over 1,000 games to choose from on physical media, not to mention the huge library of arcade and indie titles that are available through the digital marketplace. To me, the 360 is an amazing product, so if you have not yet done so and are looking to do so, gets a definite buy. Can move on to the Xbox One quickly. That just released shortly ago. There's still, I don't want to call it a flood of problems, but there's enough problems to get you a little bit concerned. The Kinect still isn't working perfectly, even though they promised it would this time around. Xbox Live Chat's having all sorts of problems. There aren't a ton of games yet available. Some of the TV connectivity things are a little weird right now. With Microsoft, they are a software company, first and foremost. So this stuff is all easily correctable in a firmware update. The problem is Christmas is 2 weeks away. So unless you're dying to play one of the 3 exclusive games that are out for it right now, that being Dead Rising, Rise, or Forza Motorsports, the console doesn't really need to be bought right now. This is something that I think will get better and better and better as time goes on, much like the 360 did. The 360 was a completely different console when it launched compared to where it was as it just wrapped up its generation a few weeks ago. So for the Xbox One, I would give it a wait. Can move on to Sony from there. Start off with the PS3. Much like the Xbox, it's had a long time to grow. I don't know why you wouldn't have gotten one yet, but in the event you haven't, same case with the 360. You have over 1,000 games to look forward to. The inclusion of PlayStation Plus more recently throughout its lifestyle and the arsenal of games it gives you for the monthly subscription price. the connectivity with the PlayStation Vita, which we'll get to shortly, the extensive app selection, the hundreds of games also available on the arcade throughout the PlayStation Store, the movies, all the like. Plus, it's ridiculously cheap price point, which I also forgot on the 360. So sorry about that. These are really cheap right now. You can pick one up for next to nothing. So the PS3 is a buy. Can move on to the PS4. This falls into a very similar boat as the Xbox One. A lot of promised features aren't quite ready yet. The library isn't quite there yet. The PlayStation 4 actually has less to play than the Xbox One even has right now, with the only exclusives that aren't available on current generation consoles being Killzone and Knack. There are a couple indie titles like Contrast and Resogun, but we're counting full retail discs in this particular scenario. So for the PS4, it's very similar to Xbox One. I think that over the course of the next few years, it's going to get better and better. Even in the next couple weeks and months, it's going to continually get better with a bigger and bigger library available to you. But for right now, do you need one before Christmas? You can wait. The last piece of hardware then would be the PlayStation Vita. The PlayStation Vita's been on the block for a little over a year now. When it first started, it really, in my opinion, had an amazing library. One of the best launch lineups of any piece of hardware ever. Unfortunately, not too many people tend to agree with me. I think that's because they didn't see those huge AAA titles. It was plenty of titles, just stuff people never heard of. And over the course of the last year and a few months, it's gotten better and better and better. With more and more games. People who say it doesn't have games now just are misinformed. The Vita has a ridiculous library, rivaling almost anything else. When you take in the PS1 classics as well as the PSP games that you're also able to play digitally, the library is well in excess of over 1,000 playable games on the Vita when you take into account PlayStation Mobile, the actual Vita games as well. There's a ton coming out on the horizon. The compatibility with both the PS3 and the PS4 is an amazing feature, and the thing's just the coolest handheld ever made. When you take PlayStation Plus into account and all the free games that it'll give you along with that, the PlayStation Vita becomes a must-buy. So aside from that, I think I covered all the hardware. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope that helped you guys make some holiday purchasing decisions a little easier.